What's going on, everyone? After multiple requests in our Discord, I'm going to bring you my favorite really early trade targets. These are all players that have underperformed and their value could very well be at the lowest point of the season, giving you a huge opportunity to buy low. Before we jump into this video, make sure you check out our video description. We have so much content that we're producing for you guys, so make sure you hop in our Discord, check out our website, and toss us a follow on Twitter to make sure you're fully updated with this season. If you want access to our projections, trade analyzer, and more, head over to our Patreon. The link is in the description. Probably the most speculative player in the NHL currently, the first early trade target is Mitch Marner of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Marner is off to what seems to be the first slow start of his career with just 2 assists in 8 games and a -3 rating. It's very possible that the Leafs fans and the media are finally getting to Marner, and honestly, that alone justifies his massive contract. Nevertheless, Marner is one of the league's top point getters with his career points per game average at 0.99, where he has 360 points in 363 games. These stats are outstanding for a young player, and as a 24-year-old now entering his prime, Marner still has all of the tools to explode this season for 90 plus points. Marner is one of the few forwards in the league who consistently plays over 20 minutes per night. His current average time on ice sits at 21:26, down a minute from last year, but this is really no worries. The upside I'm noticing from his stats this season is that his shot rate is actually up from last year at 8.4 shots per 60, over a 10% increase from 2020. At a career 11% shooting percentage, Marner is getting pretty unlucky right now, not scoring a goal in his first 24 shots, but this is bound to turn around, and as are the Leafs' struggles. Toronto leads the league in shots, scoring chances for, Corsi for, and high danger chances for, all by a pretty large margin. This team will turn it around, and so will Mitch Marner. Up next, we have Darcy Kuemper of the Colorado Avalanche. Kuemper was one of the top goalie choices this season, but has significantly underperformed given the high expectations for him. In his career in Arizona, it's more than impressive, where he put up a .920 save percentage and a .243 goals against average in 120 starts over a 4-year period. Coyotes were subpar, although did have a playoff berth, and for those who remember that, Kuemper stopped 50 shots per night against the Avalanche. Nevertheless, Kuemper's early struggles are likely to pass once the Avalanche get healthy, and he can go on a huge run in the mid to late part of the season. His .893 save percentage and .313 goals against average are likely the lowest point in the season, making it a great opportunity to try and buy low on him. In 12 or more team leagues, goalies are pretty scarce, and scooping up a top-end goalie like Kuemper this early in the season could be a piece you need to win your league. Moving on, we're jumping over to the Vancouver Canucks up-and-coming superstar Elias Pettersson. Pettersson arguably has been one of the more frustrating fantasy players in the last year or two. He has massive upside offensively, but an injury last season cost him most of the year, and a slow start this year has fantasy owners scratching their heads. In his 20-year-old rookie season, Pettersson scored 28 goals and 66 points in just 71 games, followed that up next season with 27 goals and 66 points in just 68 games. Aside from not producing offensively this season, Pettersson is performing to his career levels. His 7.6 shots per 60 is in line with his career average, but his 4.8% shooting percentage is way down compared to his 17% career shooting percentage. Pettersson's getting pretty unlucky, but his minutes are up this season to over 20 per night, which is well over his career high and is another positive sign. His 4 points in 8 games is really not that bad, but his potential is much higher than his current stats show, making him a great early on trade target if he can find his game again. Another great buy low player that could be easier to acquire in a trade is Kevin Fiala of the Minnesota Wild. One of our favorite players here at Fantasy Puck, Fiala's off to yet another slow start. For some reason, it seems to take Fiala about 30 or 40 games to really start producing, and this was evident in both 2019 and 2020, where Fiala carried the Wild to back-to-back playoff berths with a late season surge. The 25-year-old is in his 9th NHL season, and this is a pretty big one for him because he's on just a 1-year deal. In 2019, Fiala broke out for 23 goals and 53 points in just 64 games with a shot rate of 10.7 shots per 60, and followed that up last year with another 20-goal campaign and 40 points in just 50 games. He actually exceeded his 2019 shot rate in 2020 at 11.5 shots per 60, one of the highest rates in the league. This season, Fiala has just 1 goal in 7 games, but the positive factors are that his minutes are up to 18.49 per game, from 16.54 last season. His shot rate's at 10.5 shots per 60, which is in line with his career averages. And lastly, his shooting percentage is significantly below his 10% career average at just 4.2%. He's looked great in the Minnesota games I've watched this year. Their power play is set up for Fiala to shoot the puck, and he's consistently finding shooting lanes in the offensive zone. Things will likely turn around for Fiala, and it might be in a month or two, but buying low on him early this season can pay off huge dividends down the road. The final trade target for this video is Jake Guentzel of the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins have actually been pretty impressive this season in the absence of Rust, Malkin, Crosby, Letang, Carter, and more. With all that in mind, Guentzel is obviously off to a pretty slow start with just 4 points in 6 games, adding a -1 rating and 20 shots. All of this without his line mates Rust and Crosby is pretty solid, and now that Crosby's nearing a return this weekend, it could be a perfect opportunity to scoop up Guentzel for a cheap price. The 27-year-old is in just his 6th season and has been over a point per game for the last 2 years while scoring over 20 goals over the last 4 seasons. Guentzel's shot rate this season is at the highest of his career at 10.4 shots per 60, and although this may go down as players start to return to the lineup, it's a positive sign to see that he's still firing the puck at a high rate. The Penguins love to use him. His minutes are over 19 per night, which is actually down from over 20 in the last 2 seasons. But again, as Crosby and Russ look to draw back into the lineup, expect this number to rise. Guentzel's 5% shooting percentage this season is well below his 16% career average. With more puck luck, he's going to start finding the net very often. Guentzel was a buy low for a while last season at Fantasy Puck and is again this season, so send out some trade offers and try and acquire Guentzel before it's too late. That'll do it for our very early trade targets video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. As the Fantasy Puck community prepares you for this season, click the link in our description and check out all of our content channels to ensure that you're prepared for this season. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.